How you going? So it's Wednesday, 5th of October. It's very rainy outside. I don't know what it's like where you are. Here in Australia, we have had a very, very wet year. And as part of that wet year, it continues to rain. And yeah, there's a lot of gloomy days inside, which is amazing for teaching and amazing for coming up with ideas. So one of the concepts that I've always taught, I've always been a fan of, and that I've actually created a workshop on, is this idea of you are the cause. And without going into the detail about it, that's what I'm going to do shortly. It is a very self-empowering idea. It's great for people who lack confidence, who are unsure of themselves and uncertain about where they're going. Because what it enables them to do when they take on this overarching belief is to believe that they're responsible for their own feelings, their own thinking, their own thoughts, and their own results. And it's the ultimate antidote to victimhood, to blaming other people, and to not taking responsibility for your own life. So let me just share what the plan is today, and just put this up. There we go. So this is the plan. We're going to talk about you are the cause, and we're going to talk about what it isn't. Then I'm going to talk about the idea of the fact that how can we have this idea when there's so much we're not in control of, which we learned through the pandemic. And then I'm going to briefly talk about how you can apply this to your daily life. So this is a mindset and an overarching belief system. So I would call it a meta belief. It's an overarching belief. And you will notice that some people naturally have this idea. So, notice in the way that they live their lives, with some people, they believe they're the cause of their results. So it's kind of like what I do, what I say will ultimately lead me to this idea of success, whatever that might be, right? There's a self-agency in the way they conduct their lives. So it absolutely points to this whole idea of agency. And there's a cultural element to this that I think is really worth recognizing around collectivist cultures versus individualistic cultures. So, for those of you who are aware, Hofstede's dimensions of culture, there is a cultural element to this that's very aware of. I think, it's worth saying that the American US is very into this whole sense of agency. You can be whoever you want to be. And this you are the cause is much more subtle than that. There's more to it than that. And that's what I want to describe today, so that you can take it and apply it in your life in a way that helps you and doesn't give you this overarching or all-encompassing permission to do whatever you like. Okay. So this is also an assumption we make about the world, and it appears to describe a path to our ideal life. So we want to cling on to it and go, you know what, if I take this mindset in every single action, in every single part of my day, in what I do, then it's going to lead to a great life. And ultimately, there are aspects of this that will, but there's also what this isn't. So when you are the cause, you're also not the effect, which means that you, in how you hold yourself, what you say to yourself, the way you manage yourself will determine your lot in life, but you're not, and if you focus on those things, and if you have that sense of self-agency, you are not the effect of your life. You can make things happen, right? So you're not the effect. This is the opposite of victimhood. Now, there are limits to this, and I'm just going to get you to do a little exercise to experience the limits to this. So I want you to hold the idea in your mind. Just give attention to the idea in your mind that I am responsible for my results in life. So like a mantra, which we get people to do over and over again in coaching, there's this thing around positive affirmations, right? So this one, I want you to just to say to yourself, I am responsible for the results I get in life. I am responsible for the results I get in life. I am responsible for the results I get in life. And imagine that you said that to yourself 50 times. 20 times. All right. So you can say it to yourself, but imagine that you were just very immersed in that idea. And what I want you to do is just to allow that to permeate through your body. I am responsible for the results I get in life. And just notice if there's any objection. Notice if there's any limitation to that idea in your consciousness. Right? Any part of you that's just evaluating it or criticizing it. So typically what happens is that where we go is that we use these mantras over and over again. I'm responsible for my results. I'm responsible for my feelings. I'm responsible for my thoughts. I'm responsible for who I am in the world, and I am responsible for my result. I am the cause. Okay, sorry, that was the bit I wanted to put there. That is the belief system. But often it doesn't sit with us right because it appears to strengthen the separation between us and the world. It's almost as if there's you, and then you've got to act in a separate way, in a way that creates what you want. Right. So firstly, it's very I focused. And then secondly, there is this sense of acting upon or not being part of. Okay. And it's just not being part of, this separateness that often is people's feeling that this isn't quite right. And so what I want to do is just to give you a visualization that this is actually not about separation. This is actually about the whole. And that through the belief system of you are the cause, you are actually contributing as part of the whole. And so here's the visualization, which is as you repeat those mantras, which I highly recommend you do. I'm responsible for my own thoughts, I'm responsible for my own feelings, I'm responsible for my own results, I'm responsible for my actions, my behaviors, and I am the cause. As you repeat that, visualize yourself not as separate from the world, but absolutely as part of the world. Imagine yourself with agency and with all the other people in the world with agency as well. Imagine the environment and the planet having agency. Imagine your family having agency. Imagine all of the people in the world taking responsibility for what they need to, so that we create a planet with this type of mindset, this type of belief system. Because if we collectively all have this type of belief system, collective problems as they appear become much more solvable because we're all taking responsibility for them. As you visualize, as this mantra or this belief system becomes part of who you are, visualize everything and everyone and anyone at any time being able to take responsibility. being able to take collective responsibility for the things that we need to. I want you to imagine you as part of that with your own individual belief system. But imagine that everyone has that at the same time. So how can this apply to you? Take the mantra, take the, and I'll add that into the copy underneath this so that you can use that as a tool. And then as this becomes part of your overarching belief system, imagine you being part of this broader collective system of responsibility that we're all part of. Have a wonderful week. It's been fantastic to be in your earbuds or on your eyeballs, in front of your eyeballs. I love your work. Talk soon. See ya. Bye.